PetVivo has an innovative tool to help manage osteoarthritis for animals. And with me is CEO John Lai, who's in town for a conference, a veterinary conference. So tell me about this conference and why these conferences are so important to your business.
Sure. I'm here for the U.S. Veterinary Conference at the Javits Center. And the conference has a lot of veterinary doctors. And what we do is we're able to present some of the clinical data that we just completed, and it's to educate the doctors how our product works and so on. And the importance of that is that our product is so innovative and disruptive to the industry. It defies what they have learned in the last 30 years on the approach to treating osteoarthritis.
Yeah.
Because it's a multimodal approach. They're used to starting off with NSAIDs, then hyaluronic acid, then they go to stem cells, and then joint replacement. Ours basically says, you do an injection, our particles mimic cartilage. Once it's in the synovium, it forms a scaffolding, and it lasts at least a year. They're not used to having products last so long.
Yeah, well, and there's probably a comfort level that they need to reach with something so new and innovative before they're ready to start using it in their patients.
We have multiple studies on safety for cats, dogs, horses, and then you have studies showing the efficacy of each joint. We just had one come out about a month ago that we presented at the American College of Veterinary Surgeons. It was on ruptured cruciates, which is, in humans, their ACL. And the treatment for that generally is surgery, 100% of the time. Well, we had very good data that shows this could be a very good alternative to surgery on a lot of these dogs. So we're helping provide cost savings to the consumer for healthcare and providing a much better medical outcome for the animal. Instead of going through all that rehab and surgery, it's very stressful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is the spring treatment. It's natural, which I know a lot of people like. As you mentioned, it could be the first place that they try rather than surgery. So explain the tool.
Sure. So there was a peer-review article done by Dr. Tamara Grubb. She is an expert on canine pain management. She's a professor at the Washington State University Veterinary School. She did a peer-review article saying that veterinary doctors should be looking at spring as first use, as a possible first use product. And the reasoning for that, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think the reasoning is that all the products out there are pharmaceutical-based or biologic-based, and their products generally have side effects. And they're also focused on the symptoms, not the actual root cause of bone-on-bone contact by wearing away cartilage. Spring with OsteoCushion technology is focused on creating a mechanical function which acts like an extracellular matrix, or what we call spring as like a wet sponge. That's the simplest way. Once we inject the particles in, your body temperature actually activates the particles to form the scaffolding. So once the scaffolding occurs, it absorbs the synovial fluid, which helps lubricate. So in essence, it's like engine oil. When the dog runs faster, because of our particles are moving like a wet sponge, the synovial fluid's moving faster. So it's keeping the joints lubricated so you don't have the pain and inflammation.
Yeah. Well, and I know you and I have talked to the dog trainer. And and he talked about how some of the dogs that he sees have used this and how it's changed their life, and even like the dog owners have cried and things. So there's some anecdotal evidence that this is really kind of a game changer. Yeah,
and we're in the process of supporting Dr. Grubb's article with all these studies, because I always argue we're actually expanding the market, the TAM. So when an elderly dog comes in with osteoarthritis, like a lab, their life expectancy is about 12 to 13. And the dog's 11 years old, and the vet tells the owner, your dog is really suffering from pain. And the owner knows that, they see it, So right now, their only option is to put the dog down, cost them $200, or try a very expensive surgery, $7,000 to $8,000, and then they got to go through probably like 120 days of rehab. So that becomes really expensive, nothing in between. We're offering a product that's covered under pet insurance, and it's going to probably cost around $800. It varies between different states and so on. I've seen our stuff be injected from as low as $600 in some small counties or cities, and then the major cities like San Francisco, I've seen it go to $2,000 for the same injection. But it's all function. But they're getting tremendous benefit, you know, and it's covered under pet insurance.
Okay.
And the majority of the people, if they're given an option to extend the quality of life of their pet and have a 2-3 years more with their animal, I think the majority of people would pay it out of pocket. Yeah.
Is it a one-time injection?
Yeah, the injection, the uniqueness is that it is a single injection, and we say it lasts a year, but we have had incidents that last well beyond a year, many case studies, because most of the other products are monthly or 45 days. So it adds up, and most of the products are probably user pay. So, you know, Zoetis has a brand new product out called Libria and Solentia. It's a monoclonal antibody, and it's the same injection as ours. It's an intra-articular injection, but theirs requires monthly injections, about $160 a month, and they're actually treating the symptom of pain. So the monoclonal goes in, blocks the nerve growth factor, which is, you know, the factor that causes pain, NGF. Ours goes in and actually creates that cushion between the joint. And so we're preventing the pain because there's no more bone-on-bone contact. And theirs is user pay. Ours is insurance covered. But there's only a small population of pet insurance, but it's growing fast.
Okay, so let's talk about the first quarter of 24. What do you have planned for that?
So actually at the end of this month, there is a major equine conference in San Diego called the American Association of Equine Practitioners Conference. It's the largest in the United States. And we actually have 2 of our vets that's been accepted to do major theater presentations talking about the use of our products in different applications for horses. So we're pretty excited about that because that draws and educates a lot of veterinary doctors to learn about our product and the various uses. And the first quarter, we have the Veterinary Medical Expo in Orlando. It's the largest small animal vet show. Well, actually, there's also equine vets there, but it's mostly small animals in Orlando, Florida, second week of January. And there we have a couple of outside veterinary doctors that will be presenting to the whole conference on spring and the potential alternatives to surgery and stuff like that. So we're pretty excited to have that one, and we have data coming out at each one of those conferences from studies, and also we have what is called an adverse event team. So every company needs to track that for the FDA, and I think we're going to see some very good numbers coming out on spring, probably 1/3 of the lowest that's in the industry. Yeah, I mean lower than the third, which is the lowest. So, well, please keep us up to date. I know you will, as all this data comes out, and best of luck. Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, John.